computer. Okay, it looks like we're recording, so we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so if I hit the screen share, that's not what I want to do. Can't minimize. How do I, hold on. I'm on somebody else's computer, so I'm figuring out what I need to do here. Yeah. All right. Well, I had this all up. There it is. Oh, okay. Jamie, you may have to come in here for just a minute. Can you all see the screen on Zoom? That's not going to work.
We can see it behind you, Gerrie. We got you and then what's behind you.
Okay, so that's not what I need. So I need to, here we go. Okay, now can you see it on your screen?
Yes.
Can you see Google?
Yep.
Yay, okay. No. Let me get signed in here real quick. Was it this one that you had to type it in? Okay, so we're going to be talking today about how you can create templates in your DocuSign. And a lot of times now what we're doing is we're going to Forms R Us and we're creating the form and then we're uploading it to DocuSign and then we're still having to add the signature lines and different things like that. So I'm just going to pick a form here. Let's see, I want to do a smaller form. So most of you should be familiar with Forms R Us. I'm going to grab the Teleform and just download it to the computer. I'm going to export it as a PDF. So I'm going to get my forms ready. So it's going to be a little difficult for you to follow along with me and do this at the same time. So because this is recorded, you'll be able to go back and you'll be able to watch it and do it at your own pace. Let's see, let's do a water well as well. So all I'm doing at this point is I am getting a form that I want to save as a template in my DocuSign. So with DocuSign, you can go into DocuSign through your command, or you can go straight to DocuSign and log in. So all I'm going to do here is log in. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so when you sign into DocuSign, this is typically the page that you'll see when you sign in. You've got your home page, you've got a manage, you've got a templates up here at the top, and this is where we're going to be working, is in our templates. So if I go to my templates page, and this is, if you've never created a template in DocuSign, you're not going to see anything right here. These are all templates that we have created within our system so that all we have to do if we're working with a client and we're in command and we're creating our file for our closing, for our new listing, whatever it is, we're just going to come in here and we're going to click the ones that we want and then we can use them over here. So I'm going to open this one so that you can see it.
Gerrie?
Yes?
Gerrie, remember you cannot just go in and create a room without going into command first because it will not link.
Correct. Correct. Okay, so I guess I should open command so you can, does everyone in this room know how to get from command to DocuSign? This means yes, this means no.
Well, if you have an opportunity.
If you've created an opportunity.
You have to create an opportunity first.
Right, correct. Okay, and we can go back that far if we need to. For participants in here, participants on the Zoom, how far back do we need to start?
I'd like to know how to get my pre-filled forms saved in Command in a folder for me that I can go to every time. Is that what we're doing here?
That is what we're doing. This is
Okay,
correct.
so-
These are your templates in DocuSign, so that when you open Command and you create your opportunity, you can pull your templates in.
Okay.
Okay, now keep in mind that each time that you do a new opportunity, it's not going to have, it's going to be this blank pre-filled template that you have to pull it in. So you'll have to pull in the templates that you want into Command or
So
into
you-
DocuSign.
You can't fill them out in Forms or Us, then import them with the pre-filled stuff.
You can.
You can do that, but you have the issue of there's so many things on there that need to be changed that it's not going to look uniform. So if you're anything like me, the OCD will set in. But there's so many things on there that are the unknowns. It's easier to do it in here so you can edit everything at one time.
So basically what you're doing is you're creating the Forms RS page with all the blanks in it. That's what we're doing within DocuSign, so that you just have to open DocuSign and not Forms RS.
What's the difference in these documents and the ones in the DocuSign MR form section?
They have there's no way to fill them in.
Okay.
Okay, so let me, I just want to open this one so you can see the one that's already open. So before we go into that, you'll see here that the first thing that it shows us before I can actually use my template is I have to fill in who's going to actually be able to use this template. And this particular form is just the sellers. And so you'll see that it has listing agent and it has seller 1 and seller 2. Okay. So this would be something that you could fill in. So if you've already created your opportunity, your seller name is already, you're going to have that as a drop down. So let's say Deb Mundell. Deb, I hope I can use your name. So Deb is already in my system because she's the broker. So if I put her name in here, her email is already going to be in here. So let's say she's my seller 2. And let's say that, I don't know why it's not giving me this full page here. Here we go. Seller 1, let's say is, Jamie, I'm going to use your name. And then I'm going to use, okay. So these are my 3 people that are going to be allowed to be part of this template. Okay. And then I can also put a message on here. Okay. So at this point,
No, you go to advanced edit. You just sent us an email.
I did just send it to you. Sorry. Whoops.
Okay, this is if you've already got the template.
This is, yeah, I just wanted to open the template so you could see
Edit.
it.
Go to edit.
There we go. Okay. So this template has already been created and I've pulled it in.
Nope, you need to go to next up at the top right.
See, this is why you need to be in here, Jamie, because I can do it when I'm sitting down to do it. And you're over there. Okay. So as you can see, the fields on this, there's a lot of fields that are already filled out. So up here, I'm just going to explain the template and then we'll go back and we'll talk about how we work with the template. So in here, we have seller 1, seller 2. So if we had filled in their names, then it would have their names over to the side. So the listing agent name is in here. Now, anything then, you'll see there's a color dot beside the name. So anything that is a listing agent field is going to have that color. Seller 1's assigned color blue, seller 2 is purple. Okay, so as you're going through the document, if I were to add something that I want the seller 1 to sign or mark, then I have to apply that to them so that they are the ones that have the access to change the fields or to click on a field and sign. So as you're looking at this, you can see that the text field up here for the street address is in my color as the listing agent because I'm going to be the one that fills in that information. So I would simply put in, 123 Main Street. and that has filled it in. So I would fill in all the text boxes as the listing agent. So this would be a field when the seller gets the form, they can't change because they don't have access to it. Only I do. Okay. Does everybody understand that so far? Okay.
You can change the, like, so where she has put in that, you can make it a required field or not a required field. So if it's something
Correct.
they have to fill out or it won't finish the document, you leave it as required, but on the top right, if she scrolls back up, you can uncheck the required field if
This
it's
out of
just,
the way, sorry.
if it's not something they have to have in there.
Correct. So let's say they have to make a choice of yes or no. You can make that a required field. Now, if it's something where they could choose multiple boxes, like on a seller's disclosure, you could leave it as an unrequired field, and then they could pick and choose the boxes that they want to do. And we're gonna go through that here in just a minute. Okay, so on this lake pond disclosure, you'll see down here under the dock slips that we have what we call a radio button. How the radio button works is they can check yes or they can check no. And you can see there's a little square around the radio button. So I can move these buttons out or in, but the person that clicks the buttons will have to pick one or the other. They can't pick both.
The add button that's down below it, you can add as many of those as you want. So
Right.
there's like 4 to choose from and they only choose one. You keep it, you have to press that add button so they all are connected as one section.
Okay.
You can also highlight it, come out here, Gerrie, and just make a box, just click, make a box around it. Okay, and then up at the top right, you can make it to where they're level and even and nice and
Right.
on the page.
I was getting there. Okay, so there you can see. So let's say I put them on my page and somehow, whoops, sorry.
You can also copy and paste those. So it makes it easier if you have a bunch
Okay,
of them.
so let's say when I dropped it, I didn't drop it where I need to. This is what Jamie's talking about. Okay, so now they're uneven and they're not where they need to be. Okay, so like I can move this one over and I might get it there, and yet this one might still be a little less. So now I can come out, I can highlight the box, and I can say I want them to be either level to the top or level to the bottom or level to the left or level to the right if I'm doing up and down columns. So you can see like right here, all these columns are level together. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Okay, makes sense? All right. So over here, again, she's done the same thing, but she's done, and when I say Jamie's the one who created this form, the checkbox. So let's say I needed to add another checkbox. Okay, so you can see I can add a checkbox just like this if I choose to. Okay. Jamie, what are you wanting to say?
If it's in the same section, you would click up here. So, no, take that one, delete it. You're going to click it on the screen and delete it.
You just have to hit backspace. You can hit backspace and it'll get rid of what you just did. Okay.
See how there's so that is all one section. You can add another box then.
Okay, so here I can also add another box if I choose to. All right, same thing. She's come down and she's put text boxes in here. So if you have a doc and you need to put the permit number in, you can fill in the field. Okay, this is kind of a crash course on how to do this. Any questions?
You took a blank form and you put all these check boxes on there.
Correct.
And everything. So is that the way you do your seller's disclosure?
All
Yes.
of them are in here as a template, and you can then you just pull them from your templates over to your room.
Right. Okay, so you can see this is all, I mean, we filled all these in. I kind of wanted to give you just a quick look at one that had already been done. Now we're going to go do one so you can see how it's done. Okay, same thing at the bottom. So like if you have, you know, a place where you can write things in, you're just going to come over and you're going to grab a text box, which is, am I down?
Up a little bit.
I know, it's not, it's like, there it is, right here. You're just going to grab a text box, you're going to bring it over, and then you're going to expand it, but we're going to do that. So initials, you can put their initials on here, and same with the date signed. Okay, so I'm gonna go out of this one. We're gonna go back to our templates. All right. Okay, so now I want to create a brand new template, one that's not in my system. So what I've done is I've gone over to my Forms R Us. I have opened a form and I have exported it as a PDF file. So you can see that this form is now down here on my toolbar. Okay, so we're starting from scratch, and then we're going to go back to our templates page and we're going to click new. Okay, and we can create a template, we can upload a template, or we can create a power form. So we are going to create a template and then we're going to upload a template, I mean. Okay, so on here, I think though, Jamie, I'm going to double check this. I should be able to just take this and drag it. Nope, it didn't work. Okay, so I do have to upload, and I have no idea where this is saved. Sorry guys, I'm using a different computer. It's not there. Oops. There it is. Okay, and then I'm going to find the form, which is this one here, and I'm just going to click open. And it's not going to work.
Try create. It's usually a whole.
We'll try create and see if it will.
There you
go. Okay.
Name your template up here.
So we're going to name our template, and I'm going to do test water well. Okay. And now I'm going to click upload. Let's see if I can click and drag. Okay. I can just click and drag it, and there it is. Okay. Now, if you have a form, let's say it's is it the buyer agency form, Deb, that you have to sign first?
It doesn't matter when I sign.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it can.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I always make it to where she signs it before we send it out.
So let's say that you do want Deb to review something before you send it to your client. When you are putting your recipients in, you can assign them an order as well. So like it would go to Deb, she would sign it, and then after she signs it, then it would go out to whoever else in the party. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4. You can assign people 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 because you don't care what order they sign it, but you can make assignments. Okay, so and right here is where you would set signing order. So let's say that Deb is the broker and needs to sign the form. You would fill in her information, then you would add your next recipient. I know, I'm not going to, but I'm just showing people how to do this. Okay, so here on the roll, let's say it's seller 1, or let's say it's you as the listing agent or the buyer's agent. You would put buyer agent, you would put in your name, then you put in buyer 1, buyer 2, whoever is part of that contract. Now, so the way that I have this with number 1 and number 2, it would go in that order to people. So until that person signed, the next person would not get it. However, if I don't care what order they get it, they would all be in one, or I wouldn't set the signing order. Or if she needs to sign first, I need to sign second, and then I don't care what order everybody else signs, they would all be number 3. Is that making sense?
At this point right here, you don't have to put in a name and an email unless you want it to automatically just pop in that person, like you or something. You just put in the role. So like your seller 1, your seller 2, your standard on this one.
Stand
and
closer.
What?
Stand closer so people can hear you. Okay. All right. So for purposes of this, I'm going to make them, I'm not going to set a signing order. And I'm going to put, let's see, I've got a water well. So we've got seller 1.
We'll just put any of that right now.
I'm going to put it in though, just so people can see what it is. So Deb and I are buying a property together. Okay, and I can add a message here like, you know, please sign before noon. Okay. Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to click next. And this is where, well, I'm making a template. So we wouldn't put the names in on a template unless we were putting it in to use that template. Okay, so we've just loaded this as a PDF. And the first thing I want to do is text, because I'm going to have to fill in what the street address is. And you're simply going to grab a hold and you're going to pull it out. You can make it as small, as large as you want.
Copy and paste it so you don't have to click text every time. Just click Control C and then Control V. And it'll pop it again. Control C, Control V.
Okay.
And then you can just drag it over and resize it.
Okay, I think it's easy. So you can do it either way. You can do it the way Jamie just said. You can copy and paste it, or you can just come over and you can click the text box again and drag it over. So you can do this as many times as you want. And as you can see, I have this all assigned as me, as a required field, so that I know that I don't miss anything on this document. I know that I have to fill it in. Okay, so now I've come down and does the property include, or is it served by a water well? And I have yes or no. So I have to do one of those two, or the seller does. So in this particular case, I would click Deb. I would do a radio button. I would put one here. And then I would drag the other one here. Okay, and again, you can see they're not quite level. So I would just come over and I would make sure that they're level. So now then you can see on your document that there are two people that have to do something on this form. Okay.
If you were creating a template, you wouldn't put Deb's name on it.
No, no.
Seller one.
It would say
You
seller
can
one,
leave the
seller
name
two.
and stuff
Correct.
blank. So whenever you go into your room from your opportunity, then you put in.
Then you put in the name. Yes, that's correct. So I know that's a little bit, did that confuse anyone that I did that? This name right here should say seller one.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So now then, if they did yes to this, then obviously they're going to be able to fill out the rest of the blanks here.
So, go back up. Right here is where, like on number 1, where it says specify depth and stuff, even if they don't know it, put a box there
Put a
and put it
box.
not required.
Right.
So that way it's there if they know the answer. If they don't know the answer, it's fine if they leave it blank.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the box. Okay, but you can see it's blue, which means that Deb is the one that has to fill this out, or seller one, or seller two. So let's say the man knows all the information, and like in our office, we always put the husband's name first, we put the wife's name second, so it's always in that order so that we know. But let's say he has all the information on the property, then I would assign for him to fill everything out. But let's say it's the wife. Okay, then seller number 2's color, which would have been purple, all of these fields would have been for her to fill out. Okay, and typically in that case, you would make sure that that person does the form first before the other person can sign. That way it's all filled out. Okay.
I mean, how do you, like that button up on the top right where is a required field, how do you make it not?
You just uncheck
Just
it.
uncheck it. Yep. So see, now you can see it's not required. So as they're scrolling, it'll scroll to it, but they can choose to fill it out or not fill it out. Where that comes into play is at the end when they sign. If there is a required field for that person and they do not fill it out, they can't sign and close to send the document. So you have to make sure that you've got it marked the way that they would want it, or the way that you need it for them to fill out. Okay? You okay, Deb? Okay. All right. So same thing, you're going to fill out all the yes and no's, whether it's required, whether it's not required. You're gonna put in your text boxes.
So with the text boxes too, up here where she has it in there, at the very top, the yellow ones, if you want it to be uniform where the font's all the same size and stuff like that, you can do it all at one time. So highlight all of those
Mhm.
boxes and go down.
So let me
I
do
always
this
make
first.
mine blue.
So now all my text boxes are the same.
I make them the font the same size, and I always make my font blue because it shows up easier when you're looking at it to see this is what they filled out
Right.
under formatting.
So formatting, let's say you wanted the text to be small, let's say you wanted it to be large, you can change it to be 12 font. And you can see that's the size the text would be in the box. You can bold it, you can italicize it, or if it's something that you need to stand out, it needs to be underlined. Just like you would in any Word document or email that you're doing. If you wanted to change the color to be purple, blue, whatever color you wanted. You know, most of your contracts are going to be black. Fixed with, so there's a lot of different little things that you can do in here. There's also a validation. If you need validation over here.
Yeah, so put in like 4 check boxes
Okay.
and show them.
I was looking to see.
I think those are all 2s. But you can
There's
make
one right here.
Okay, so the radios, it's one or the other kind of thing. On the check boxes, you can make it to where there's like, if there's 5 check boxes, they have to check 3, or they have to check 2, or they only have to check 1 thing, but they can still check more than that. You can make it required they have to check a certain number.
Okay, so all I'm doing is doing the checkbox.
And you have to make sure when you're doing it for that section, you press the add button and not checkbox every time, or it's not gonna put them together as a section.
What do you mean?
That what you're doing?
Yeah.
Yes. If you were to just click over here, the checkbox on the side, it wouldn't put it as a section.
So you can see, all right, so now they're kind of all wonky. So again, it takes just a little bit to set up your first one or just set one up for the first time. But then once you have it, these will always be on here. Okay, so I'm gonna align them that way.
Highlight them again and go
I'm going
over.
to. Okay.
So we highlighted them all again.
I highlighted them all.
So right there where it says validation, it says select at least.
So if you want them to select at least 1, or they can select 2, or however many you want them to select, you can put that number in here. So if I say 3 boxes have to be checked in this section, then they would have to click 3 boxes in order to proceed. Jamie, do you have an example of when we would use?
There is, oh gosh, I think there's one on the seller's disclosure where there's multiple, where they have to at least select 1, but they can select more.
Sellers just, or let's say you send them an input form and you want to know which appliances are being left, you know, so they can choose however many appliances. Okay.
That's, I use it on the, like the cover sheet. So like when I put the cover sheet in there, I at least have to select 1 button over here, but I can select them all.
Okay, so next thing down here at the bottom, once we've filled all this in, the next thing would be your initials. So you would have seller 1, seller 2. So I'm gonna use mine up here. Oops. Yeah, I'll just put myself, it would be seller 2, but okay.
So you have a cover sheet, you have a template for your cover sheet. Can you go back and edit that?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You absolutely can.
Okay.
As long as it's not been signed. Once it's signed by all parties, then you can't edit it anymore.
Okay.
You'll have to go in.
Who signed? No one signed.
No one's signing it, but I'm saying like if that's the
Any
case.
document.
Right.
You can edit any document.
Correct.
And also, I don't know if you realize this, when you put the date on there, don't put the date close to the edge because it goes really long.
It does.
So you want to make sure it's closer to the
I'm doing
name.
good. The what is it?
What was that?
Okay.
Hello? Okay, I don't know what that was. Okay, so here you can
Something
see.
to, send in the mail. Yeah, I haven't done that yet, but I'd do that first and then get back to you on this. Okay, yeah.
Where's my,
Well, I think I'll do this first and see what it comes back with, and then
oh,
I'll
I
get
don't know
with
how to
you.
get up, guys.
So maybe I want to hear this.
All right, thanks.
Oh, here it is. Got it.
Bye.
Maybe.
Okay,
There we go.
there we go. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So now you can see down here, I add initials and I add a date signed. And you can see that these are both the same color because that's what I was using. So it's really important to watch the colors. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to line these up. I'm going to line these up because we're kind of weird about that. Okay. But then, so if I sign, it's going to put my date timestamp on here that I signed twice. I want Deb's signature or the first seller's initials to have that. So again, I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to hit the drop down and I'm going to sign it to whoever that person is. So now you can see when this person initials, it will date stamp. Now you will see, I see this from other agents coming in from other offices, you'll just see initials. If you look in your command, there is a timestamp page that attaches to that that will be in your command. So you do still have a record of that timestamp time. And your DocuSign. In your DocuSign. A certification, correct. So we still put it on the form. I just feel like it's better. It's best practice to put it on the form. That's correct. Okay. Any questions on what we've done so far? All right.
Okay, so I did this. I tried to do this. I tried to do this. I took a residential real estate listing
Okay.
contract.
Mhm.
It took me 4 hours.
To make a form?
Yeah,
It took less
and
than
I
20
didn't even
minutes.
get it all made. I got frustrated and like, okay, I need to walk away or just go.
So Jamie Allen is the queen of making our
Once
forms.
you figure it out, it's
Yeah.
like, you can whiz them all. It's just very tedious at the beginning.
Correct.
Especially like the seller's disclosure. Ugh,
Okay, so we're
got
gonna,
it done.
Yeah, but that's about the only way you can send it through.
So they can.
so they can fill it out,
So yeah, but
correct.
once you've done it once and you have it saved how you want it, it's there. You don't have to change it unless the form updates and then you have to change it.
Right.
Because I made a mistake. I sent my.
But they couldn't fill it out.
But-
I
but-
thought it was
I
automatic.
mean, they signed it and sent it back.
And it was blank, right, right.
No.
Yes.
Fill it out and then.
Yeah.
Correct.
Actually, Thane came in my office.
Yeah.
not long ago and I showed him how to do all this.
So another part to this is, as you're doing this, like you can add in an email. So let's say that you're filling out a form. Let's say it's the buyer's agency agreement and you have their address that goes in there, their email and those types of things. So once you've created your opportunity, you can act and you put in your buyer's name, their address, their under the details tab, and their email. So let's say the email needed to be on the form. So let's say we're at the bottom of this form and let's say there was a blank that, well, let's see. I'm just going to open this till the rest of the form. So let's say it needed,
This
a
one
form.
actually, because you, like the middle section
Yep.
is standard for you.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just save it in the template already and it's already there. You don't have to fill that portion out
Correct.
every time because it's not gonna change for you.
Right, so how do you save that?
So once
Fill it out and
when you're
save
in
it.
this section right here, go back.
What,
Go back.
into what?
What you were
This?
just in. No, go back. So go up. Right there. Okay, so where your text is, you put that text in there. Go ahead and type it out. And then when you click save, it's gonna
It's
save it in the template.
It'll save it in the template. So, all right, so we're gonna go out of this
And you
template.
can save it closed
It saves it in your templates file.
if you filled it in.
Correct. We're gonna go back and let me show you a template that's done again, Deb. Okay, so like right here is our telerespa form.
Yes, I did a listing one and a buyer one, so that way it was.
Okay.
filled out.
So I'm gonna open this. This is a listing one. Okay, now you can see already that we have listing agent as number 1. So that person will go in and do their thing. And then both seller 1 and seller 2 are number 2. So after the listing agent has done their portion of the telerespa form, then it will go to the buyer or to the sellers for them to sign. Okay, So I'm simply gonna edit my template. This is a template we've already created. Okay, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna click next. Well, I would fill in this information
No,
here.
This is just the template.
If I'm sending it to someone, I would be in a different form, sorry. This is why Jamie kind of gets mad because sometimes I fill them out on a template and then I save the template again and it has somebody's information on it. So you have to make sure you're in the right opportunity. Okay. All right, so on this authorization to furnish to the rep spec, you take it to the
Yes.
correct.
But when you pull it over, you know how you put in your, it tells you down the bottom to add your recipient. Once you have a template saved and you pop down that drop-down menu, it's gonna say pre-tagged roles. If you don't click that, this isn't gonna show up.
Right.
You have to click pre-tagged roles and then it'll pop in what you need.
In the address.
So we're gonna walk through that here real quick, Deb, after we look. So again, this template is already created and you'll see if you come up here as the listing agent, it automatically defaults to whoever's filling out the form. Then seller 1 and seller 2 have already been assigned to the template. You can see there are 3 colors on the template. So 3 people will have to do something on the template.
If you'll see where it says full name on there. if
And
the
this is
details are-
assigned?
If the details are filled out in your details tab on your room, that will automatically pull
populate.
through for them. They don't have to type it or anything. Once they click, it pops it in for them.
Okay. All right, have we still got our Zoomland people following along?
Okay, so I see in your template, you have filled out all that bottom part,
Not know.
And it just saves it in there.
and then you saved and closed it.
So that's the information that's always the same
Never changes, yeah.
when you pull your template over.
Correct. So this information will always be here unless I need to come into this template. So let's say that Keller Williams came along and said I needed to add the word realty to the end of this line. I would come in here and I would adjust the template and re-say the template, just like I would.
That's not likely to happen.
It's not likely to happen. Hallelujah.
Just trying to get it all.
Okay. And if you're like me, I have to look up this number and my number every time. So on this template, my number and the office number are already filled in, so I never have to worry about those numbers again because they're there for me. So if I'm with a client, I can, and I'm done. Okay? So easy.
Yes.
It will save you so much time.
This portion may get tedious getting it done, but once I'm
Well,
done.
when you pull one from it, it's like,
How much is it
When you-
cost to have?
you have to go.
I'm sure you can hire Jamie, not me. Okay. All right. So I can't hear anybody on Zoom.
Because everybody's muted.
Well, they can unmute if they, does anyone on Zoom have a question at this point? Unmute yourself, because I muted everyone.
Yes, I do. This is Tori.
Okay.
In .loop, I believe it was Deb who had a lot of our forms uploaded, such as the Great American Title submit sheet or the Keller Williams submit sheet, that we could fill those things in. Is there a plan to do that with some standard forms for us?
Like a closing info sheet.
Yes, and to have,
We
to
have
have
created
boxes.
our own.
So there is a feature within templates where you can share templates, and we have not explored that yet with Deb. And so,
You can only share them if your DocuSigns are linked. So like mine and yours are
Only admin
linked.
can share.
Yes.
so within a team, you would be able to share them.
And we will be able to share as admin. Yeah.
So-
we will be
Correct.
able to.
Right.
So we have a library that's called KW 986, whatever it is. Some of these forms can't be in there that are pre-filled, like the RESPA that has all the Keller Williams information in there and such.
So that is a work in progress, and we're
Okay.
hoping that we will get to that point. We are not there yet. So for now, if you want the form, you'll have to create it yourself.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to okay.
To get to your rooms.
I just want to, I'm going to go and show.
Once your
Oh,
room
should we
is-
sign in as Martin?
Once your room is created through your opportunity and it's already linked, you don't have to go through command every time to get to it once it's already linked. You can go straight to DocuSign and go into your room after it's been created.
When I try to do that, it takes me back to my old DocuSign membership, and it says.
You have a membership?
Gerrie
Well, I was a
has
member
two.
of DocuSign, or
I was too, and I had, and everything was crossing
Oops,
over.
what's
It took
my-
me about an hour and a
Jamie?
half on the phone with them to get them to make just one account for.
Yeah, Jerry's has, when you pull it up, like you log in, then it has like, you click your name or whatever. Jerry's has two there, and I have to click the top one every time, and that takes me to where I need to go.
See, I had to change that, I had to take out my second one.
But yeah, you
It's
can,
way easier.
but then when you go in directly to it, it'll take you to the template.
Actually, let me do this.
Switch it to
Let me go.
I need an opportunity to delete. Anyway, I was gonna do it before I walked in.
No, I'm going to do, am I in here? Okay, so let's just say I'm in here and I need to create an opportunity for this. So you can see my phone number, my email, my name are already in here. I'm going to create an opportunity. Okay, and we'll just say it's a listing. We'll say the commission rate is 3%, and we are active, listing assigned, okay?
Okay, where it says more listing. Nope, go down. Right?
Okay, so right here, I've created an opportunity. All right, so now I'm going to go to my documents, and I'm going to start a transaction. So I'm going to open DocuSign, and this is going to take me to the exact same place I am already open, but it's going to sign me in through, yeah, I'm on somebody else's computer, hold on.
Don't change that.
This
Hey,
would have been
Gerrie?
easier if I'd have done it, yes.
I have a question. This is Tori again. Do you ever, or does Jamie ever go back to Forms or Us at this point in time in your life? Or you're pretty much done and everything's in your templates now?
I'm on Forms or Us all the time.
We do still go in and out of Forms or Us. This is more for if you have clients that aren't here that you need to get forms to them to fill out immediately, and they have to be the ones to fill it out.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now you can see I'm in my room, the more listing, I can change the name, I can change the details, but the first thing I'm going to do is go under details, and this is where you would put in all the information for the seller. Okay, so I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to say seller Sally. I'm going to put in her phone number. I'm going to put in her seller. Can't type when people are watching. Okay, and then I'm going to put in her address. 123 Main. Okay, I'm going to select if she lives in the United States or wherever she lives. City, postal code. Okay, same with my seller too. So I'm going to say
Any information you know, put it in there.
seller.
So that needs to be on the paperwork.
Seller George. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to fill this information in. So now when I save this, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to fill in as much information as I can as well. So let's say they're buying 123 Pocahontas. Okay, and I'm going to fill in the information of what they're buying. If it's a commercial property, if it's residential, you know, whatever it is, I'm going to fill in as much information as I can. The list date, all the information. So it's all here. So if you're going to be putting it into a form, when it has that field, you can simply add that information. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Okay, so my room now has been updated. Okay, so you can see that in the details down here, that information has been saved throughout the form. Okay? So now I'm at the point where I need to send a form for someone to take care of that form. Okay? So I'm going to do what, Jamie? So you have your documents, which would be the things that you've already done and created, which right now we don't have any. We haven't created any documents in this file. But we're going to go to the envelopes because this is where we want to create and move our template in. Okay? So within this, you have actions over here that you can do. You also can do new. Okay? So I'm going to click new. And remember before when we said use a template? Okay, I'm going to come over to my templates and I'm going to say I want a seller's disclosure, I want a TILA, I want a lead-based paint, a lake pond, whichever ones those are. Whatever you're going to do for that client, you're going to click add selected and then you're going to see them populate right here. Okay, now, before you send these to your client, because when you were clicking them, they were probably like in alphabetical order. So let's say you want them to fill out a specific form first. Let's say you want them to fill out the TILA first. You can rearrange so that that form will be the first form that they fill out. Then if you want the seller's disclosure to be next, and then the lake pond, whatever, however you want, whatever order you want them, you can change them around before you actually get them ready for the client to send. Okay? You can also, oh, I forgot a template. You can go over here and add more or use template, and you can go in and you can pick another one.
You can also pull, it doesn't have to just be a template in this envelope. If
Correct.
it's something that's already filled out that you've scanned in or whatever, you can add that to it as well, just for a signature.
So like we do like the GIS map, we have them initial that. So that would be on our computer already and we would just go find it. Like let's say it's this water well, we would drag it in.
That's where it says up there, go to the right, go up, up,
Come
right
up,
there,
right here.
where it says has the add button.
Oh, there we are, right there. Okay,
It didn't do it.
you didn't do it, hold on.
That's okay.
How do I get out of that? Okay, you can, however, come and add those documents in. You can upload those documents in. I could just go here and upload where I'd done it before. Okay, so now I've got my forms all in here of what need to be filled out. So here's where we're going to add those recipients. Okay, so we could do pre-tag
You have to
roles.
add pre-tag roles, or it's not going to pop in your information from your template.
Okay, so remember we had a seller 1, we had a seller 2, we had an agent, a buyer's agent, whichever pre-tag roles that we'd already made, we can use those.
And then you go over to where it says select in the drop down menu and you click who that's going to be. So remember she did seller Sally or whatever.
Yep. So here's seller Sally, going to be number 1. Seller 2 is going to be seller George. Okay, and then why is this assigning it to a document?
Because that's the document that it needs that has.
Oh, those are the documents
You have
that
put
need
in
it.
buyer documents and seller documents. You mix.
I mixed the documents. Okay. Okay, so and then let's say that I need to sign. Okay, so add selected. Okay, so now you'll see.
Because you mix the forms, on
Right.
the forms that she didn't put in information, it's not going to show that box. You're not going to see it.
Okay, so what I've done is I've said, I want to be number 1. Okay, so I want to fill out my information first and seller 1 and seller 2 to fill it out second. Okay? All right, Deb, moment of truth here. So now when I click next, my forms are going to load in the order that I load them. I know. So there's not going to be any blanks on that form.
Because I purposely did that so they were filled out like that.
So does that make sense? So when she created this form, she created it only for buyers. So I know that I have the wrong form. I should have the form for sellers, because it's not going to populate a buyer one signature if I've assigned a seller one signature. Okay? But you can see here on the lead-based paint, everything is filled in. So now you can see over here, I'm the yellow color as the agent, seller Sally 1, and seller George purple. So you can see every place that I'm going to have to figure out and every place they're going to figure out.
Okay, that one in particular, no, never mind, that makes sense, never mind.
Okay?
As I was
And actually,
asking.
I didn't do this one. We had hired somebody to do this one and it's wrong, so don't look at it. There's some wrong spots in it. Like,
Like,
one
hire people to do this for you?
Yes.
Well.
Leverage.
That was
I showed her how-
eye-opening moment, right?
I showed
Okay,
her how to do it.
So we're almost out of time.
Jerry,
So I'm gonna, I want to
Jerry,
talk through
hey,
this real
hey,
quick.
have you addressed the questions that are in the comments?
I can't see them yet, but I will here in just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, so now you can see on this Lake Pond disclosure that you saw before, that remember we had filled all this information out. Okay, but you can't see that on here
Because you can check that listing agent spot though.
because I didn't check the listing agent spot for the form. So you have to click the right form and the right boxes each time. Right pre-tag role. So here again, this is all filled out. This is where if I wanted the seller to fill this information at the top, it would be blue. If I wanted me to fill it out, I would change it because I have access to change anything on this form before I send it to whoever I send it to.
Once it's been signed, you cannot edit it.
That's a good thing.
Okay? All right. So
You send it back to us, and say, "Man, you gotta do this."
So this was a lot of information to cover in an hour. How do I get this back up, Jamie? I'm gonna get the Zoom back up. You
You're
are
screen sharing.
screen sharing. Go stop share. Okay. All right, so let me check what we've got over here in our questions. So what is the difference in a radio dial and a checkbox? Okay, so a radio dial is used more for yes and no questions, whether they have to mark yes or no. Check boxes are, they can check 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box, 10 boxes, however many boxes they need to check, or no box. All right. Is there a way for a standard one to be uploaded with these radio boxes? Tori, I'm not sure what you meant there. Can you all hear me?
You answered it by saying it was hopefully in the future. When we were in Dotloop, there were forms in there that you would click on that had boxes where we could pre-fill it.
Gotcha.
And so you're kind of talking me through that. So I may have to hire Jamie to.
After hours is all I'm saying.
While I'm on here, a couple of things.
She really should have taught this class, not me. She's the one that does all these forms.
Okay, so I have another question on that though. You did 2 different things. You did one that was only when people can't come in to sign, and another one. So do you have templates that are filled out with your information and your normal pre-selected things saved in a folder in DocuSign?
Yes.
When do
So that you can
have
just print them and you can then handwrite or whatever you want. But now keep in mind, if you use typed text and you write on a document, you have to initial everything. Deb will want everything initialed because you don't want to mix the 2.
So if you take a pre-filled form and they hand sign it,
No, that's
you have to initial their signature?
That's different. If all they're doing is signing a pre-filled form, you're okay. But if you are pre-filling in check boxes and then they're writing in text, then you would have to initial those changes.
Okay.
If part of your document is text and part of your document is handwritten, the handwritten parts are gonna need to be initial.
Make sense, Tori?
It makes sense what you're saying. I understand that part of the contract, but I watched you do two different things. Why did your address and seller name not show up on the forms when you pulled them up?
Because they have, whenever you select it as a seller one's name, seller one address, when they go in to sign the document, that's when they auto-populate. It goes, whenever they get in the document, it'll do it.
But I won't be able to see that. Okay.
You'll be able to see it when it's complete. It'll come back through as that for you. You're putting in the auto-populate on the name and the address, so that way you don't have to fill it out. That means they've looked at it, they've signed it, it auto does it for them.
So let me ask this question. So you have a contract, you're sending a buyer's contract for sale.
Mhm.
You only have one buyer.
Okay.
When you go into the room and develop your envelope,
Mhm.
when you assign recipients,
Mhm.
you add one person,
Yep.
only one person's gonna populate, and you will not see their name until they sign it.
Unless you type it in. But yes, if you put in where it says full name, that means on their selection where they do it, it will put in their name when they sign it.
Perfect, thank you. That was my question.
Okay, and that leads us to the next question that says, what if I set up a seller 1 and 2, but have a transaction that only has one seller? So then you only populate for whatever form or forms you're doing. You have to know your forms. Does it take 1 signature, 2 signatures, 3 signatures? If it's just you as an agent and the seller that has to sign, then that would be the fields that you would populate for that document or those documents.
If there's not a seller 2, you can take that off.
If there's 5 sellers and you need to get all of those on there, then you're probably going to have to do an addendum to add those people because there's not enough spots, and you would make reference to the addendum, and then you would have signature lines for all 5 sellers that you could add. You can add as many people as you want to sign on those documents.
Yes.
Okay, does that make sense? So if you have one, you have one. Let's say I'm just sending, let's say I need to send a, heaven forbid, a mutual release, and it was a single lady selling property, and I just need to send to her for her signature. It would just have her signature on there. That's it.
If you don't auto-populate it once it's saved in there on your template, then it won't show up. You don't have to worry about it.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
How do we get this recording sent to us?
Okay, so the recording will be on the KW agent, what's it called? KW agent YouTube page. I'm like the worst person to teach this. Okay, but if you have questions, this is really easy to show one-on-one when you have your computer. So just contact Jamie or myself, probably Jamie, because she can do it better than I can. I can do this when I have to, but I'm like everyone else. I'm kind of slow at it and I get a little frustrated. However, once it's created, then it's good to go. You just go in and it just saves you a lot of time because everything that you need is in one place. And obviously what Keller Williams is trying to do is get everything you need into Command, your DocuSign, so that you only have one place to go to and you're not using multiple systems. And once you created it, it's yours. I mean, you have it, it's got your information on it, and then you never have to fill it out again unless you're adding a name or you're changing something about that form, or it's an updated form that we get, occasionally, like once a year, Missouri Realtors will send out, a new form for something. So I think that's it for today. We kind of took up our whole hour, and sorry for the confusion on my end using this new computer, and thank you, Jamie, for stepping in and helping me with that. Does anybody else have any questions in the room or on Zoom? Gosh, I covered it so well.
Once you start working with it, then that's.
Yes. So if you get in there and you're working on it and you have problems with it, just give us give me a call or give Jamie a call, and, you know, we'll help walk you through wherever you get stuck. But don't be afraid to play with it. You know, if you mess it up, you know, just delete it. You can get rid of that template. Okay, but honestly, once you've done one or two, then they start going pretty quick, and you can like, oh, you know, I got to do this, this, and this, and this, and you're done. So that's all I have for today.
Thank you so much, Gerrie and Jamie.
You guys are welcome. Bye.